Hello everyone, this is Eugene, the African kid, and in today's video we're gonna be seeing a couple Indian family, Indian couples, an African and Indian, having the best time of their life. This is a new trend which is happening to the Indian women. They're living their culture, coming to integrate with Africans. I don't know what's special about that, but what's happening, I think it's something which is good, although there's some things that I think it's important if we address. Yes, because in as much as we're seeing African men with Indian ladies being together, there are some of the reasons, and most of the parents of the women are not okay with this, and you find that most of the cases their parents have not approved this. And so I want you to watch this video, and then we come back and talk about reason as to why the parents of the women, Indian women, doesn't want the Indians to be married to African men. So let's watch the video and then come back, and also take note of what the couples are saying, because I think it's equally important. And let's watch the video.
So you guys wanted my love story. I got hair in my eye. I'm gonna go ahead and give you my love story. So my husband and I met in high school. I was a sophomore, he was a senior. I was 15, he was 18. He got held back a year, that's why he was still in high school trying to earn his credits back. Now, I thought he was talking to somebody else when the school year started, because there was this girl that sat in front of me actually, and was like, he would talk to her and giggle and all that stuff. So I wasn't really paying attention to him. I actually liked this other kid that was in the class, which I had very low self-confidence, so yeah, I thought I had no chance with anybody. Turns out he wasn't talking to that person, and there was a play that we did, Rumpelstiltskin, in high school, and one day he came up behind me and put his arms around me. I was like, oh, okay. And then we kind of exchanged some notes, some letters, and I thought he was going to invite me to prom. So I went and did this whole elaborate scheme with my aunt on being able to go to prom. Well, he ended up taking this other girl to prom, and how I found out, because I really didn't pry even after prom was done, was she gave him oatmeal raisin cookies on his birthday. He was standing by the door and he hugged her and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting here going, I thought he liked me. Well, eventually that day I ended up crying, because I was like, oh my gosh, I really like him. I made a fool of myself. Like, what did I just do?
She's the one who's married to a black guy, and she has 9 children with her black husband. So that goes to show how much Indian females desire and wants black men.
His best friend saw me, because we were all friends, and told him that I was crying, and he was like, she's crying? Like, did she really like me that much? Yeah, fool, I did. Since then, I do not buy oatmeal raisin cookies, not willingly. We ended up talking and we got together. It ended shortly after that, and my dad found all those notes. He ended up sending me to India. I went with him, super short notice, maybe like a day or two before he was supposed to go to India by himself. And I ended up going with him. I was supposed to be left there, of course, like majority of Indian little girls that misbehave get sent to India. Well, I ended up coming back and I broke up with him. He was heartbroken that I broke up with him. He ended up going out with a friend of mine, and fast forward a few months, they were still together. She had moved to another state. I was listening to the song Back at One in the car, driving to school. I was like, you know, I made a really big mistake. I really still like this guy. So I went to his house and I told him I still care for him. We got back together, and I ended up moving to the other side of Houston. But lucky for me, his job was literally a few blocks away from where I was living. I went to his job to hang out. I so say had a job, but it was a sales job. You don't get hourly. My parents really didn't care. One day I stayed out a little too late, and I was telling my husband, I was like, oh, it'd be horrible if my dad was parked up in the parking lot. He was parked up in the parking lot. I got out the car, I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, I cannot go home. I am not gonna make it out of this one. So he was like, no, take this box and pretend like we were out selling or whatnot. I was like, you don't understand. this is not gonna go well for me. Well, I got back in his car and we left. So basically I ran away from home. And I called my mom. I told her kind of the situation, or probably fibbed just a little bit. And I ended up going to Utah. So me and him were still together. We talk on the phone and whatnot. My mom was pretty cool about it. Well, I ended up convincing her to move to Houston. You know, of course, it was selfish reasons. But yeah, she moved to Houston. She still didn't like my husband. There was all kind of different drama between them. You already know. A few months later, after my mom moved to Houston, there was still a lot more drama between my mom, my dad, me, everybody. Drama. I actually ended up running away from home again. Moved in with my husband and his brother. So I'm 17. He was 20 at the time. I was gone from October of 2000 to April of 2001. I got a job and I guess I got caught. So one of them found me. He was like a close friend to my mom and knew me. And he was like, you gotta go home. I'm like, no, I don't wanna go home. Went to juvie for a few hours. My mom came and got me. At this time, I'm 4 months pregnant. My mom found out when I went home that night. She's like, you can't do this, have an abortion. You can't have a baby with a black man. He's gonna knock you up and leave you and go to some other girl and knock her up and leave. Yeah, you know, the stereotypical answers some of us get when we are with black guys. Oh, she told me to get an abortion. I said no. A few months later, you know, I had my son right before I turned 18, because I was hoping he would be here after I turned 18 so I could move out, but you know, didn't happen that way. So had my son, turned 18 3 weeks later, and moved out. Now we have been together for 24 years and have 9 kids together. So much for knocking me up and leaving me, because it hasn't happened.
So this is just my opinion, but I would have to say it's Northern Indians are like worse with colorism, because Southern Indians tend to understand colorism and they're also more educated. They have better education than Northern Indians. And I am Northern Indian, so I'm not just talking shit. So yeah, so I would say Northern Indians are more prejudiced than Southern Indians. So that's just my...
I would personally will date an African guy who's like friendly and he can approach me nicely. I would do so.
Y'all, I was watching all the videos of the Montgomery Brawl, the Battle of Montgomery, and I just want to say the delegation of India and all South Asian nations, we support you. We support the Black community, and we're so happy and proud of y'all. And we pulling up with our folding chairs from the churches, from the mosques, from the temples, everything. Like, what? This is on another level. Like, so happy for you, and so just a moment of solidarity, because we love y'all.
Now, did you hear how much passion she has in her voice when she said that about black people? Now, you can see that this Indian girl, she is into black guys because she is taking up for black people. Whenever you see a non-black female, you know, like going against like racism, or they just take the side of black people whenever something happens, that means that non-black female is into black guys, okay? They don't just protest and march just for the hell of it. They either have a black boyfriend, a black husband, or they're looking for a black guy.
So they're not half black, they're mixed. So my 8 children, technically they're not half. See, I am 100% Indian. Both my parents are from India. From what I know, they're Indian. My husband, on the other hand, is Afro-Caribbean. He's from Trinidad. Come here.
What? What up, people?
So he's from Trinidad, and he's not full black. What are you?
Okay, so my little brother took like a 23andMe? No, it was a 23andMe, so I'm going off of his results because, as far as I know, we're full. we're fully, you know, we're fully related. So according to that, Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, and Togo. 7% South Asian from India. So apparently it's 4% North Indian, 3% South Indian. I have some ancestors from Greece, Greece. So yeah, Trini to the bone, right?
So yeah, the kids are not half. They're a little bit of everything. They're like majority Indian, I guess. But yeah, they're mixed. They're not half, I guess. Goodbye.
Indians be not liking black people.
You are capping. I like black people.
Yes, I know there are some reasons to why the parents might not be okay. One is what we call the cultural differences. This is something which is common, especially for the interracial marriages. But remember one thing, cultural differences are perceived as per given community. So for instance, the Indian community might not see well if their women integrate with the black men, because they feel like it will be loss of the culture to them. So with this happening, they fear of losing culture. It's so important, and you understand that Indians value their customs. They have their way of worship, so they don't want to lose this type of life, this type of way. So also I do agree that we are subject to social change, and we should accept things the way they happen. And you see, something like falling in love with a person is something that you cannot talk about. It's something which is beyond the color. For instance, me as a black person talking today, I feel like we need to address these issues, and I feel like they're important. We're talking about the cultural differences. For instance, for the women, it's important. It's important because it's so hard to tarnish the mind of an African man to become an Indian. It's so hard. So that's why you find it's easier for the women to turn from their religion, from their culture, to join hands with the man. But what I do say that if they are happy, well and good. If they're not happy, there are other alternatives. I think that's number one thing. And also the second thing that I'm also going to talk about is the social prejudice. Yes, social prejudice. Mostly Indians have always been seen to some point being racist. Yeah, some Indians have always been seen of being racist. And depending on social prejudice, and the black people have always been looked down upon, and marrying to black person might be seen as marrying downwards. So it might not turn good to the parent. And these prejudices or stereotypes that face these type of relationships are normally influenced by the people who are around the couples. For instance, it might be the parents, it might be the friends advising the lady or advising the man not to pick up an Indian lady. For instance, me as a black person, we have our own beliefs on, some things that happen around us, but then we are always taught to stick in our race because it's important. We don't want to lose some aspects of our culture. And I do believe that this also resonates with, be it Indians, be it, Caucasians, and any other group. Also, I'm going to talk about something to do with family honor and reputation. I think this is something which is so prevalent in India because we have different families and they are always honored. And the honor might turn down if they are seeing an Indian going to marry a black person. So this might cause, their status, the social status, to go down. And as I've said earlier, you see that most of black people are always looked down upon, and so it can be taken as marrying downwards, marrying down the social status, because that's how the world was. But thank God things are changing. People now marry because of what they feel, not what they're being guided to do. I also talk about something to do with fear of social rejection, or something called ostracism. So ostracism is a phenomenon of fearing to be different. If you become different, you'll be rejected, you know. So that's another reason as to why most of the parents are always against Indians marrying Africans. They feel like if they marry Africans, their family or their lineage will be, you know, looked down upon, or will be rejected, or will be castrated from the family. So with that being said, it means that they might not support these types of relationship. But what I'll say is this. The important thing, we are living in a changing world, and if a person feels like they want to marry a given race, I think if they do not dwell so much on race and historical prejudices that happened in the past, if it's all about what they feel, them as a person, then I feel it's upon them to take this chance to put a step forward. Because today people are meeting in different places. It might be in school where Africans and Indians are meeting. It might be in hospitals, where it might be in jobs, and you don't know, because people are socializing and things happen. So when things happen, they come to, you know, get together, and it goes beyond the what is expected. So that was that. Guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. This is Eugene the African Kid. I know this is a different type of content that I don't do, because I don't have an audience in India, but I felt as a person from the black community, or as an African, to address these issues. So this is Eugene the African Kid. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Until then, see you. Peace, love, and harmony, and Happy New Year. Salute.